Welcome back, everyone, to It's Your Call, where we are debating the concept of legalizing marijuana. The reason that we're talking about this is because there's a renewed interest not only in using it, but in seeing it become legal. We just saw a cover article in Philadelphia Magazine that declared pot is back. I do have to say, while there were a lot of people who admitted using pot in that article, there were an awful lot of people who said that there were some side effects and downside to using it as well. So we're going to get into that. Of course, we always invite you to be part of our conversation. So we want to know what side of this debate you're on. Do you think that pot should be legal or its use decriminalized? Or do you think that the current laws should stay in place, maybe even get tougher than they are? If you want to tell us what you think, you can email me directly at lynn@lynndoyle.net. You can also find us on Facebook, MySpace, or YouTube. We've already gotten quite a bit of response to that very question on our social media sites, so we're going to have some comments, and then I'm going to get some response from our guests. Guys, game for that?
Sounds great.
Okay, here's what Luke has to say. Why this country, at a time like this, has not at least given the decriminalization of marijuana a test run is astounding to me. Tax the heck out of it. People will be more than willing to pay. Legalize it or decriminalize it, the economy could flourish on the hemp crop alone, as well as the cultivation of marijuana for human consumption. That's a no-brainer. Before we go to the next one, I gotta turn to Dan, because New Jersey's making waves all over the country for some of the cuts that it's making in its programs. Why not use a drug like marijuana to actually help the economy and get you out of the, the mire that you guys seem to be stuck in?
The state is broke. We have an example of this. In the 1970s, Alaska decriminalized marijuana. What happened? Usage at all age levels increased. Teenage usage doubled in Alaska. And what did Alaska do? In 1990, they voted back to criminalize marijuana.
That's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not. They've decriminalized 4 ounces or less as legal for possession in your home.
Significantly, at the same time, we hold up this example of the Netherlands, right? The model for all things vice, the Netherlands. Let's look what happened in the Netherlands. They decriminalized marijuana, essentially made it legal. Now, in fact, what's happened is they've tripled the rate of heroin addiction.
That's where the problem comes.
But that's not related. They're tripling the rate. This is where these prohibition is coming from. You guys want to link marijuana and heroin, and that's how you've made a career out of it.
It's a gateway drug. It's a fact.
Alcohol
It's
a gateway drug.
It's a gateway drug. That's where the problem comes.
Gateway drug is a falsehood.
That's where the problem
comes. You guys are
in.
clinging to 70-year-old falsehoods. You got to come up with something new.
This
Gateway drug was proven false.
Statistically,
not only that, you can possess 4 ounces in your home in Alaska, and in Massachusetts, you can possess 7 grams. Teen use does not go up significantly when you liberalize drug laws. And here's the thing, with marijuana, the press in this country, nationally and on the state level, has always been to decriminalize and pull back. It has not been to make these laws harsher.
I still want to get an answer from Dan as to what the negative side of taxing it if it were legal, given the economy today. I mean, people are saying, I can't pay any more real estate taxes. I pay sales tax. You take tax out of my paycheck. Why not tax, like the sin tax, you do cigarettes and alcohol. Why not drugs?
And Lynn, using that logic, we should then tax ecstasy. We should tax heroin.
I'm in favor of all that. If it's not good for you, then you ought to at least have to pay twice and then twice for it.
Just because we can tax something doesn't mean we should do it.
Is this from an elected official?
Well,
just kidding.
There was a mention of hemp, and that's really forward thinking by our commenter there online. And when we talk about New Jersey's economy, hemp is one of these senseless prohibitions that has happened with cannabis prohibition. New Jersey could be a great producer of hemp products and could see significant revenue. It's farmers of New Jersey who would benefit most from a national change in prohibition.
So there we have Jersey tomatoes. I was going to say Jersey tomatoes, Jersey corn, and hemp. That just doesn't quite fit on a license plate.
I think a lot of people would buy that license plate.
The two greatest problems we have here with increased usage, the Alaska model, and as we saw in Amsterdam and the Netherlands, when you have increased usage, you're going to have more DUIs. So you have increased, you eliminate prohibition.
Wait a minute, I'm going to speak to that. From being in the trenches for 30-something years, let me tell you something. I was one of the highest DUI writers in the Maryland State Police, working out of Anne Arundel County. And I can tell you right now that alcohol was and continues to be the issue. Not once did I or anyone that I know of at that barrack arrest anyone for being under the influence of marijuana alone as the only drug. Even when it comes to cases of domestic violence, when we respond to those calls, alcohol is the issue, not someone sitting there on a couch smoking pot.
Well, I want to bring us back to Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I can't tell you how many countless cases involve marijuana. But the key is, let's say 1% of the cases now involve marijuana. We have 99 involving alcohol. The problem is you legalize it, you're going to increase the usage,
That's not true.
which will
It's a hypothetical situation. That's total
It's got an
speculation.
interesting point there because
It's speculation.
alcohol is legal. And how many DUIs did you just say that you wrote in your career? How many people
Tons,
die
but
on
you
the
can't
roads
compare, you can't
because a
compare
drunk got behind
oranges
a
to
wheel?
apples. But you can't compare oranges to apples. They need to do proper studies as it relates to marijuana. They haven't done it. Why this country has not gotten their, I was going to say heads out of their butts. Yeah, I can say that, heads out of their butts.
It's cable.
And started to and to move forward with figuring this issue out. Here's the thing. I don't know why we're debating whether or not we should move towards legalization. The issue is we have to move that way. It's been 4 decades. This country is a mess. Mexico's a mess. The violence is off the hook. And we need to change the discussion to solving the issue of how do we do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
On that note, back to our Facebook comments, because Tina has written in and she says, so now they want to tax our children and our children's children so you can be high and stupid? I vote no. It should not be legal to anyone. Maybe, just maybe, if there's a real medical situation and it's certain to help someone, then a doctor could prescribe it. But it should be in a medical building under the eyes of medical doctors. But just to anybody, just for fun, just to get high, she says, no way. And a lot of people, you guys who are on this side of the issue are going to say,
We're missing a
why legalize something that does affect a person's decision making, their reaction time,
Look, again,
their bodies? Forget about the health. Let's just talk about safety.
Which is worse,
Well, there
smoking
you
a
go.
joint or spending time in jail? You know, and I'd like to ask Scott why the arrest rate for marijuana in the city of Philadelphia was racially disparate and continues to be so.
That's another issue.
Use among white and black people is equal, but black men get arrested for marijuana in the city of Philadelphia at a rate of 70%. You're only arresting 10 white women a month. You tell me that's equal enforcement. That's the problem with marijuana prohibition, is that it has allowed this type of criminalizing of behavior, and the ancillary side effects and the ancillary effects in law enforcement are really the most expensive and wasteful policy we have in the country
Don't tell
today.
me we need to work on that, because we've been working on it for 30 to 40 years and it hasn't changed. So you have to change the policy at its base.
But Lynn, the one thing we should not do is we should not send a message to use illegal drugs or to use drugs. Right now, what we're doing in this country is saying, stop smoking. Smoking is bad. And one of the key things is smoking has smoke. You inhale in your lungs. Marijuana, smoking of it, has smoke. You inhale in your lungs. There is no doubt that we should not be encouraging smoking. And then we add another thing, it impairs your ability.
You're on shaky ground with
it's
that.
a combination of cigarettes and alcohol.
Let's prohibit
I
alcohol.
would vote for that. Well, not the alcohol, but the cigarettes. I would
And then
definitely
you're going to
vote for
have
that.
another huge problem. You'll have another organization
market.
of cartel members and local gang members funneling cigarettes through the illegal market,
Absolutely.
and then that's another terrible issue.
So basically, what you guys are saying is that you can't legalize behavior. I mean, you can
Absolutely.
you
have
can
to
put as many
teach, you
laws
have
on the
to
books
educate.
as you
Like we
want,
did
but
with
people are going to
cigarette
do what they do,
Over
even
the
if it's
past
black
couple
market.
decades with cigarette consumption, we've reduced that by double digits because we started educating people. We took the money from the
Especially among
tobacco
teens.
companies. We started educating people as to the harmful effects. People do make good decisions.
All right,
And
well,
we've made it
this is
by
the decision we want you to
saying
make.
legal-
We want you to make the decision to stay right there. We're going to take a real quick break. We're going to come back with more of this debate on whether pot should be legal for recreational use. Medical marijuana, that's another show. Stay with us.